Good morning, I'm Ken Biberaj, and welcome to Coffee with Ken, a thought leadership series at the nexus of business, politics, and marriage. Today we're thrilled to be at 1901 L Street in Washington, D.C., an amazing office building, brand new, wonderful, owned by the... Super beautiful.
Yes. Okay.
Owned by the Meridian Group, the Rockefeller Group, and we're especially grateful to the leasing team at CBRE for their help in making today happen, the property management team at Cushman & Wakefield, and to Roasting Plant, a new coffee shop right here at 19th and L that opened yesterday for providing the coffee. Pretty amazing.
Yes.
So big thanks to them.
Thank you.
You all act like you don't have corporate sponsors for your anniversaries. I mean, it's like, come on. It's a totally normal thing. So this is, in fact, a pretty special day on Coffee with Ken, and for us personally, it is International Women's Day, it is International Women's Month, and it is our 15th wedding anniversary. So we're so grateful that you guys could be here. And to everyone tuning in, everyone from our parents are here, past guests of Coffee with Ken, including our children, Hudson and Grant Biberaj.
Yes.
So it's an exciting day for us personally. So we are lucky not only to chat a little bit about our anniversary, but Val's dynamic and exciting day job at the Washington Commanders, where she is the Vice President of Community Relations and the Executive Director of the Washington Commanders Charitable Foundation.
You got that right.
Yes, I wrote that down so I don't actually mess it up. So look, Val, you went from being a Jersey girl running the Kate Spade Foundation on the Upper West Side to Virginia Val in Burgundy and Gold. What was that transition like?
Yes, so from fashion to football.
Yes.
Yes, it's been a fun journey. I'm so nervous.
Why? Well, if you ever watched Coffee with Ken in the past, you wouldn't be nervous. This is just like if we were by ourselves having coffee on our anniversary with 100 of our closest friends.
Okay. It's been an incredible journey. I can't believe I can even say that, 15 years of marriage and 15 years of being in corporate philanthropy, like time is, passing and it's really wonderful. But yeah, I started as an immigration attorney, so I don't know if I would have ever said, I am going to have a career in sports. It was not anything I ever envisioned for myself. But life is really wonderful and surprising, and that's the reason I'm sitting here, I guess. Yeah, I fell into it all. I basically transitioned to David Yurman in-house and worked as an attorney there. I transitioned to their chief of staff's office and worked on the Yurman Foundation, and that's when I realized that, is this a career path? Can people do this for a living? We're first generation, and I always thought, doctor, lawyer, teacher, and I chose lawyer. And so knowing that there were all these other career paths for us has been eye-opening, and something that I want to make sure that we share with our children, all the many opportunities, but then all the the communities, underserved communities that we try to work with. But all of that to say, fell into corporate philanthropy, ended up at Kate Spade, New York, building out their foundation, and it was an incredible experience. And then we moved down here about 7 years ago for family reasons. We had two rambunctious boys with lots of energy, and there were those days where in New York City, 2-bedroom apartment, they'd be running around the lobby, on a snowy day because you couldn't go outside, and you're like, I think this is not sustainable. What do we want to do right now? And so I'm so happy we did it. It was definitely a tough transition. I'd say it took me 2 years to fully transition.
And a global pandemic.
To fully embrace Virginia Val, I guess. And because of wonderful friends that helped us acclimate, and family that we have, that we adore, it's been I can't imagine being anywhere else. And then I've had this wonderful bonus of, accidentally falling into sports and philanthropy and community engagement here in the DMV, which is now the only home I can imagine. So yeah, it's been a total journey, and all that time also married to the most energized man in all of the DMV.
This is my talk, right? Okay. So, being in sports, obviously it's an exciting time for everyone in the DMV, right? The Washington Commanders have new ownership. There's new buzz, new energy. new direction. Talk a little bit about that. What's it like being on the inside through this transition, and what does the kind of road ahead look like now for the region, and what people can expect from engagement and your team and the team broadly?
Okay, you're sweating just that
I know.
I'm glad you're
We're gonna
nervous.
edit this.
No, it's an incredible new day. I feel super honored to be in the position that I'm in. I have been able to, engage with new ownership. We have this incredible broad ownership group who come with their own passions and energies and expertise, and so I've had the honor of meeting a few of them and engaging with a few of them on what they're passionate about, and we're in the process of reimagining our foundation and community engagement and what our commitment looks like to the DC area. And I just more to come on all of that and what it will look like, but it's incredibly exciting. I think people will be truly surprised and thrilled about what is to come in terms of Commanders engaging with the DMV area. And just some quick examples. I work closely with Marjorie Harris, Josh Harris's wife, and he's managing partner of the team, and she's incredible. She is brilliant, philanthropic minded, incredible background in her own right, and she's helping steer strategy for the foundation. Had the opportunity to work with Magic Johnson and his team. And
I had a nickel for every time you had to go on a Zoom with Magic Johnson.
I definitely snuck a picture of the Zoom and sent it to my dad, and he was like, those are these wonderful pinch me moments where I just I could have never imagined any of it, but it's truly thrilling. Every day is totally different, and so I have the opportunity to work with incredible ownership group, but then on the other side I get to work with incredible stakeholders internally and our executive team, and excited to meet with our new general manager. We have a new general manager, we have a new coach that we poached from the Cowboys, which is great. And it's they have us on the docket to meet with them, and they're a little busy right now with combine and draft, and we're gonna be getting 9 rookies, in this upcoming draft pick. So they are essentially building a brand new team. It's so exciting. But for me personally, I reached out to the teams they came from about what are the processes they prefer, what are things how do they like to do things, and pretty much the general consensus about both of these men, Adam Peters and Coach Quinn, are that they are incredibly kind. You won't find a negative word said about either of them. They're effective, right? We want to win games. But then for me, they're incredibly philanthropic. So they have been known to fund things out of their own pocket. They go to every community event. They want to know what's happening in the community. They want to encourage players to be out in the community. And so knowing that it's a priority for ownership, but also for football, I think it's truly a special recipe for exciting impact for our area.
So you had some experience in corporate philanthropy with David Yurman and Kate Spade. Talk a little bit about the magnitude of the NFL and the impact. Were you surprised at just how impactful it can be in the team, and what you see when you're going out with players to, Boys and Girls Clubs and to hospitals and to community centers around the region?
Yes, I think I was definitely surprised. I, grew up a football fan, but I don't know, it's not something I followed regularly.
And now you're talking about the combine and the draft.
I know, now I know all these things. I know more than you.
You do. About a lot of things, though, yes.
I didn't think that was that funny.
It's a hostile audience.
I think that I didn't fully understand the impact. Sunday truly is, football has its own day of the week, and that is something. It's it is a unifying force for its community, and I didn't fully understand it when I first landed, but it's something I've definitely gained an understanding for. I mean, and working closely with the league office on all of their initiatives and what they're pushing out and how they approach this, it's been eye-opening. And I mean, just anecdotally, Doug Williams, our Super Bowl winning quarterback, is part of the team, and he works for the team, and so we get to do community events, and we know each other well. And what are you going to say? I know you have something
No,
to
just
do with
we were at an event once, and Val says, "Oh, you should meet my colleague, Doug." And I was like, "That's not your colleague. That's Super Bowl winning MVP champion Doug Williams, right?" So it's just putting it in perspective for folks, you know.
Yes, and also Doug the person that I know.
Yes.
And so, you know, we go out into the community, and like the people that like line up to talk to him, shake his hand, you know, like it is so moving. You know, who he is and what he represents, and you know, he's just such an incredible legend to be engaged with, but just seeing people respond to him is really unbelievable. So yeah, I think just like seeing the numbers and the amount of reach and like the millions of people that we can reach through, you know, when we share a community moment on the broadcast, people seeing our work, or just anecdote, like seeing Doug out in the community and making sure he shakes every single hand. He won't walk away until he's like basically touched every single person, and it's really moving.
Doug, so you're traveling a bit, right? So you've been at league meetings and Gillette Stadium and Nike next week. Talk a little bit about that and how you try to kind of learn from counterparts at other teams, and then kind of also share the vision that you and Marjorie and Josh and the team have, you know, locally.
Yeah, so I, you know,
beyond Coffee with Ken, obviously.
Beyond Coffee with Ken. So league meetings is incredible. It happens every year, and going out to Nike campus for our youth football development meetings. And so the wonderful thing about community relations in my role is that while, you know, teams compete on the field, they'll never compete in the community. We do a wonderful job of sharing best practices. So like I said, I reached out to counterparts at other teams, and they're like, you should try this program. It was really effective. Here's something you could try if you were interested in. If you want to build out social justice in this way, here are the notes. You know, here's everything you need to know. And it was really effective for us. And so it's this wonderful community of, you know, philanthropic folks that know that we're only competing on the field, and, you know, sharing those best practices, being a good active listener, as you know, as you are always. I don't know.
Val accuses me of asking a question and looking at my cards and not listening.
Yeah.
We'll save that for the marital part.
Yeah, you're looking at me a lot more. I
am.
That's
I'm
very good.
I'm sweating profusely as we do this. The pressure, the stakes. We've had governors and mayors and, you know, world leaders on Coffee with Ken, but the stakes are higher today at 15 years. Yeah. With all of that, and the pressure of leading a team, this transition, being in the NFL, we're also blessed to have 3 amazing children and try to spend time together. How do you feel you do juggling it all? Any advice you have for people? What can we do better?
I don't know.
I mean, we don't even send our kids to school. They're here. For God's sake.
We make sure they play hooky occasionally.
The principal's going to be watching this one.
Yeah, I don't know. What's the question? Is it like how I juggle it all?
How do we juggle
How
it all?
do we
How do you juggle it all?
How do we juggle it all?
How do you juggle it all?
I don't know. How do you think we juggle it all?
This is not Coffee with Val. You can't ask me questions. I'm asking you questions.
No,
you're a morning person, so that helps, right? I think it helps that.
No, not a morning person. No. You go first, and then I'll follow. How do you think we juggle it?
I think we do a wonderful job.
Okay.
We're very fortunate to have these all-star children. They're so wonderful. But it's a lot, right? I mean, when you have 2 working parents.
I think we're like just surviving, to be honest.
In the words of my father, I think we're thriving, and we're very lucky.
We're totally thriving. I don't know, day by day, week to week, you know, lots of schedules, lots of sports, lots of surprise, you know, incidents. Grant, I'm looking at you. And so, I don't know, just like staying calm, focusing on 1 week at a time, trying to stay organized. You do a much better job of that than I do. You laughing at that?
Oh my God.
Yeah, Dad does do a better job.
No. It's a team effort. So we've been lucky enough to be married for 15 years. What are some of your highlights of our 15 years of marriage?
That's the funniest question. What are your highlights?
I'm not prepared with the answers. I just come with questions. Well, look, I think we made a big move from New York, right? I think we were pretty established in New York. I was doing things with the Chamber of Commerce. You were doing things at Kate Spade, and you know, then we made this big move to Virginia, and I think that was a big moment, but turned out to be something exciting for all of us, and that's worked out.
I think for me, it's like early on in a marriage, and like in our marriage, it's like all of those really exciting trips, or like like big moments where they stand out in your brain. But I feel like I feel like recently, or especially in the past couple of years, the standout moments are like the quieter moments, to be honest, because there's so much going on that I find myself gravitating toward like just being at home and like reading together or playing a board game together, and like those are my favorite moments, and I feel like those are the moments that stand out to me lately, because the busier everything is getting, like, are you crying? Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. I feel like, I think early on it's like very exciting. Your 20s, there's so much happening, and like, meeting, Bono, and like cool New York City experiences that like, wow, like we had such a fun time and we did it right, and lots of cool parties. And then now I'm like, all I want to do is like pretty much stay home. All you want to do is run around and meet people. But
I do it on Zoom sometimes.
You do it on Zoom, totally. But like, I feel like, I think that's where the moments recently that resonate with me, and
So as we look to like the next 15 years, right? This one's been a little busy. What do you aspire to? Slowing it down more?
No,
what?
I mean, I think this is. I listen to a lot of the Eckhart Tolle, the meditation stuff, and like he speaks a lot about like basically your life is like the same life cycle as a star, and so right now, or like the universe, you're essentially expanding, and we're still in that expanding phase, and eventually it'll slowly start to like, and so I think we are still in that expanding phase. Things are speeding up still. We have little kids that are growing every single day, lots and lots happening. So like the next 10 years, they're going to be off to college, and like that's wild, and then we'll be having new adventures together, and then after, I don't think you'll ever slow down though. I think that's always going to be fast, and like I kind of knew that when I signed up for this.
So that you knew. Fair enough.
Yeah. Is that a good answer?
That's a great answer.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And then what kind of advice do we have for our little guys here? So we were lucky that our kids are here today. They are the former 100th guests on our podcast, having written a book called No More Minutes, so they're already authors. But what do you want them to think about now that we celebrate 15 and move on?
I don't know. What do we want to say to Hudson and Grant and Lucy at home?
She's watching from home.
Lucy's watching from home.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mommy and Daddy love you so much. We know we do so many things, and it's all for you, and we just want you to have really cool experiences. I'm going to make myself cry. You can't ask me a question about my kids in front of people.
This is like Oprah. This is our Oprah
you're
moment.
Crying too? This is not about crying. This is professional.
God.
Yes, sorry. This is a professional mom. Yes, it's all for you. We want you to see so many different things and meet all kinds of people and learn new things and always be curious. And that's why we do everything we do is really for you guys. So.
So bringing it back, like Grant suggested.
Yes.
So look, lots
keep
of people.
Yes,
I'll bring it back to
cry
professional
all
now.
the time, guys. Like it's my job to like be empathetic, and I do a very good job of it. So lots of folks here and tuning in and writing, even when we had people sign up, they want to know how to engage with the commanders and the foundation. Like, is there like a call to action that you have for people who want to, maybe take down the barrier of accessibility to the team and ways to support, and whether it's a nonprofit or a sponsor, private sector, et cetera? Like, I think really call to action right now is, join us at Gaines. It's a new day. I think that there's more to come on the foundation front, and like how we reimagine it. We are showing up in the community in all the ways, and engaging with our partners in hopefully meaningful ways to them. At this point, I think it's join us at Games. More to come on the community front. You'll hear the call to action soon. You're jumping the gun. I'm not going to answer that.
Well, look, this was special for us, right? Yes. Like, it's our 15th anniversary. Val's watched so many episodes of Coffee with Ken in the past that, for her, she was just very excited to be here today. But it's special and it's fun what we've done, and it's, exciting that people pay attention and tune in and show up. But it's also more special that we have our little guys here today. So at the end of the day, like, it is our 15th anniversary. So I want to say happy anniversary, honey. I love you. And Grant's going to give you something.
Oh, is it a card? Oh, beautiful, Mommy. Thank you.
And yes, our wedding song was I Got You, Babe.
Oh,
from
thank you.
Bono and Cher. These are actually the glasses from the wedding, which you never think you'll actually use again, and we found in our closet. So cheers.
Cheers.
I want to thank all of you guys for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Exciting times with the Washington Commanders and everything Val's working on. So stay tuned. Commanders.com, coffeewithken.com, and until next time. Thank
Cheers.
you.
Hey.